Good morning, Yankee fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. Like always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. TC Stills, but just watch the intro and we'll be right back.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat.
Oh, like I said, good morning, Yankee fans. It's your guy, Hector, host of the Yankees Morning Brew. And like always, I am joined by my guy, Mr. TC Stills. TC, how you feeling this morning?
Feeling good. Let's go. Hey, we got another show. We got some nice guests on the show. With you,
Let's
Hector,
do it.
with the family in the chat. It's just the perfect Thursday. Love it.
Yes, today is a special Thursday. We got some guests that will be joining us to go over the Yankees farm system. We got Dane Hubert, who will be joining us momentarily. My guy Julian from Dugout Station will be joining us as well. And I believe Carlos from Yankees Farm will be joining us also. But before we bring up anyone to the panel to have the conversation, I got to start off with a little bit of the roll call. We got my guy Medina in the building. Medina, how you doing? We got O1LS1Z2ADABX is in the building. Of course, my brother, Mr. Pete Seminetti from nyynewstv. Petey boy, how you doing? Of course, Jonathan's in the building. We got Unpopular Opinion in the building. My guy Emmanuel Morales is in the building. Lorenzo Cardona's in the building. Ayo, Enzo, how you doing? My guy Mr. James Cook is in the building. Of course, we got L.I. Yankee King in the building. How you doing, Yankee King? KC Fun Time is in the building. I can't wait for September so I can meet KC Fun Time. Anthony Garcia is in the building. My guy Pete says NYY News TV is repping in here today. Yankees Farm and Dane Hubert, how you doing? Of course, it's a heavy NYY News TV morning. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to bring up my first guy, Mr. Dane Hubert. Dane,
what's up,
how you
guys?
feeling, my guy?
Good.
What's up, Dane?
Good.
Nice.
TC, how are you guys doing? Chat,
excellent,
how you guys doing?
Good to see you, man. I always
Dane
see you in the chat. It's finally good to see a face to the person.
Well, thank you.
Yes. No, I was about to say, Dane, it's a pleasure to finally have you on the panel. I love the work that you're doing over there with the Farm Report over at nyynewstv.com.
We're trying.
Before we continue to the people in the chat that don't know where they can find you, just let them know where your socials are. Where you at on Twitter and Instagram? Go ahead, bro.
I don't do Instagram. I just do Twitter. It's DMH0726 at Twitter. So I just focus on that for right now.
Copy. Cool.
My co-host tonight, Carlos, do a podcast. We shoot it on Mondays called The Heat Sheet.
Nice.
This is on nyynewstv.com every week. So come check that out, man.
Nice. And talking about Carlos, we got my guy backstage, Mr. Carlos from Yankees Farm. Carlos, how you doing, my brother?
What's going on, guys?
What
how
up, guy?
Carlos.
Chilling, man. You know, Carlos, I've been following you a minute over on Instagram, and once you came over to the team and started working with Dane Hubert, I got super excited because I was already a fan of your work on Instagram, following the work that you're doing when it comes to covering this prospect. So salute to you, my guy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I did notice you. I was like, I know that name. And it just clicked.
Yeah. all good. And we got one more guy backstage that I'm bringing up. Mr. Julian from Dugout Station. Julian, good morning, my guy. How you feeling, baby?
Hey, how's it going, bro? Good to be on. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking time this morning, Julian, joining us. Obviously, Julian, you and Dane are familiar with each other on Twitter. We got Carlos from Yankees Farm, and I specifically wanted to have all three of you fellas here right now to talk about the situation when it comes to the Yankees minor league system. Julian, you and my friend Nathan, you guys do amazing work over there when it comes to covering the Somerset Patriots. Dane and Carlos, they do amazing work as well. Nathan couldn't join us because his schedule was just crazy this morning. He didn't have time to join us, but I feel the conversation is going to go a nice way, right? What you fellas thinking?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. All right. So, talking about Nathan, he's in the chat right now. Nathan Ramachandra from the NNR Hour. How you doing? All right, guys. So before we get into any prospect talks, right? Let's talk about the big club real quick. Let's talk about the Yankees. This series with the Toronto Blue Jays, it's been some fireworks, right? You could tell the rivalry that's growing between the Yankees and the Blue Jays is at an all-time high, something that is reminiscent of how the Yankees and the Red Sox were in the early 2000s. So, Julian, I'm going to start it off with you and then throw it up to my co-host, TC Stills. When it comes to this Yankees Blue Jays rivalry so far early in the season, what's your thoughts on it, brother?
I think we're seeing a lot. I mean, the Yankees have won the first two games. You know, Alek Manoah was chirping in the offseason to kind of set the tone. You have Vlad Jr. chirping in the offseason too. And then the Yankees taking care of business in the field. Now you have all this bull crap with Judge cheating, not cheating, although just tipping pitches to him. And then you have the thing with Domingo German adding fuel to the fire and tossed out for possibly using sticky stuff. And now it's just like, and you have managers and coaches like in the wrong areas apparently, like, and broadcasters going at it. Like, it seems like all the fans are united against each other in this series.
I heard Susan Waldman was pulling out a knife up there in the booth with the broadcasters ready to go at it with the Toronto Blue Jays. TC, what's your thoughts on it real quick before we throw it over? And also as well, guys, it was just announced yesterday, NYY News TV 2023 Part 2, September 23rd. Make sure you get your ticket. Make sure you show up to Yankee Stadium. NYY News TV will be taking over the Bronx yet again. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah. So no, it's good. It's good for the baseball. I mean, I love the rivalries are back, you know, because with the Yankees and Red Sox, that's kind of faded in the last couple of years. So it's good to see another team. You know, the Blue Jays want to be the Yankees. You know, the Blue Jays haven't won anything in a long time, so they're just like the little stepbrother, stepchild to us. You know, they're just looking up to us and trying to just start stuff. And you know, the whole Judge thing got out of hand. That's and with these announcers kind of create drama and making up stuff. Oh, cheat until you get caught. You know, come on with that junk. And the managers trying to tell Luis Rojas get in the box, and they're doing the same thing. I mean, it was good for Boone to step up and finally say, hey, look at them. They're not doing the same. They're doing the same thing. So. No, it's good. I like all the chirping back and forth. It just makes for a good down the stretch season with the AL East.
Nah, 100%, bro. And like my bro Pete Seminetti said, right? If this is one thing all of us Yankee fans can come and unite up with, you don't yell at our Aaron Boone. That's our Booney, right? Only us Yankee fans, only we can yell at Aaron Boone. So if there's any other teams out there, your coaching staff and players, if you're yelling at Aaron Boone, we're going to come for you. If there's one thing Yankee fans can unite, let's unite when it comes to protecting Aaron Boone. Only we get to call him a douchebag. We're the only ones that get to call him out of his name. But Dane, I'm going to throw it over to you and then throw it over to Carlos. When it comes to this early season rivalry, what are you making of it? And I honestly think it's real good for baseball. Go ahead, Dane.
I think it's excellent for baseball. You always get bigger numbers when you have a rivalry like that. I thought that calling Judge a cheater was really a low blow.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm excited about the rivalry. They're both going to be good for a long time, and I look forward to seeing them face off against each other for years.
Yeah, definitely. Carlos, what's your thoughts on this early season rivalry when it comes to the Yankees and Blue Jays, my brother? Before I bring up my first topic.
It's better than what's been going on with Boston over the last couple of years. And this renewed rivalry with Boston reminds you kind of like the early '90s. You know, those Joe Carter, Robbie Alomar, Blue Jays, which are actually even worth watching. So I love it.
Nah, definitely. And like you said, it's been better than what the Red Sox and Yankees have been giving you over the past few years. And hey, listen, if somebody throws at a play and sparks start to fly, we may see a situation where Alex Manoah may throw somebody on his ass. You know, we may see that. All right. I want to bring this up real quick because we had some comments from the manager of the Blue Jays, and I want to get you guys' perspective on this. When he said they can't beat the Astros, so they're clearly trying to beat them. This is in reference to the cheating scandals or accusations over the past couple of days. And Julian, I'm going to start it over with you and then make our way up to Carlos, then Dane, and then TC. Go ahead, Julian. What's your take on this?
I think it's a bunch of nonsense and they're trying to stir the pot for no reason. I mean, yesterday they won because we get shut out, but this was before that win yesterday that they made this comment, I think. It's just like, I don't really know, honestly. I'm not sure what he's really going for here. I don't really think it's going to do much to change anything. And stealing a sign's completely fine as long as you're not using technology to do it. It's another thing that's getting lost here.
No, yeah, definitely. And shout out to our friends over at Foul Territory. We had Scott Braun on the channel on Tuesday. And before I continue, we got 24 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. Let's run the likes up. Let's try to get to 30, 40 likes for this for this live stream right now. I'm gonna throw it over to you, Carlos. But before I do, Brian Hoach, he has it. You remember the comments that we was able to read off of the lips off of the manager when he said, "Shut up, fat boy." Apparently, he was talking to Brad Wilkerson. Carlos, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your take on this and his comments?
I mean, I pretty much piggybacking off of what Julian said. It is nonsense. He's just trying to fire up his team. There's nothing here. They're just trying to make something out of something. There's nothing here. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and without having Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the lineup yesterday, they was trying to find any spark just to rally up that team. Dane, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your thoughts on it, brother?
I think the Blue Jays are trying to build themselves into the new Red Sox. The Red Sox are down right now. We really don't have a top rival in the AL East. The Blue Jays could fill that role for a number of years, as well as the Rays. I think they're just trying to get more eyes on him because if you start a problem with the Yankees, you're going to get more people to watch it.
True. I can see that also. TC, what's your thoughts on it, brother?
I think Snyder's just mad because he trying to lose weight and he can't, and taking it out on Aaron Boone or Brad Wilkerson. Honestly, they're just trying to pull out anything they can right now. That we're trying to be the Astros. A Judge wasn't cheating. Come on, they even the pitcher even admitted he was tipping his pitches. Judge was looking at the dugout, or he was looking at Rizzo or somebody. He was looking at the side. He wasn't looking at no catcher or signs or anything. I mean, just stop it already. This guy. I mean, I tell you, it's nonsense. Just nonsense.
Yeah, it really is. And for me, I look at it like this: when it comes down to the situation. Hold on, I'm not sure if my camera is still there, but when it comes down to it, for me, I look at it as like the Blue Jays is one of those teams, just like the Chicago White Sox. We have been waiting for them to come and show up for years, and they haven't lived up to the hype, right? You got all these prospects that were supposed to be mega prospects like Bo Bichette, who is having a phenomenal year, but the Blue Jays has been that young rising team to me that never have lived up to the expectations so far. Obviously, their pitching staff has been a big part of it. They don't have no top-notch pitchers. Alex Manoah has been struggling this season. But I'm going to look at it like this. The Blue Jays, you guys are all bark, but that's it. No bite. You guys are little chihuahuas that are barking at people from inside of the gate. That's all you are, right, when it comes down to it. Before we continue, let me just look at the chat real quick. NYY News TV, my guy Pete says, this guy wants a rivalry with the Yankees so bad. You can tell. Because the only excitement that comes out of Toronto is when the Yankees go up to Toronto, right? That's one of the only excitements they get all year round, especially now you got Baltimore, who has taken that leap. And credit to what's going on in Baltimore. They're having an amazing season right now, right? Before we go around again on the panel with another topic, I'm going to throw it over to you, Julian. As somebody that covers prospects, right, when it comes to Somerset and the minor league system, how impressive have you been with what's going on in Baltimore?
It's kind of been a long time coming for them. It feels like it's been building. You saw it last year start to resonate, and this year it looks like it's starting to fully materialize. I think they might still need some more pitching in the end, but they're starting to put that offense is looking really good. I mean, they're still holding it down. They can be a playoff team for sure. Just a question of how aggressive the team wants to be in adding talent. I thought their all season was very underwhelming, but the pieces are coming together and they are, for a lack of a better term, trusting the process, tanking, getting the draft players, and then so it's all like working out now.
Agree. Carlos, same question going your way. As somebody that covers prospects and when it comes to the Yankees, how impressive have you been when it comes to the situation in Baltimore?
It's impressive. You know, it's great for baseball. It's good for Baltimore. I think they're kind of following a little bit of the Yankees plan, you know, with the stick Michael Yankees, where they first wanted to see how the young guys would do, and then eventually start spending some money because, you know, as good as Adley is or Gunnar, you know, you still got to surround them with some veterans to lead the way for them. But yeah, it's very impressive what they're doing.
Dane, same question going your way when it comes to Baltimore. What's your thoughts, brother?
Well, they've tanked a lot, and to get the players that they have. So, I mean, they found the right guys in the draft. It's just going to be how they implement them and what they use to build around them in the next couple of years. They have phenomenal core. They've got even more coming with Jackson, Holiday, and those guys coming soon. They have a lot of talent. So it's going to be what that GM does to put around them that's going to determine if they're successful or not.
Yeah, 100% agree. TC, what's your thoughts on that real quick when it comes to Baltimore?
Yeah, no, I agree with the panel here. I mean, they're doing it. I mean, I don't know if I consider that the right way with the tanking and everything, like kind of like what the Astros did. That's just not. I don't like that for baseball. But hey, they've lost a lot in the last couple of years, and now they're finally getting their draft picks and they got the right prospects, like Dane said, and they're building around it. And I think it's a matter of time where they just put some big free agents around that team and actually make a push for a World Series.
Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles. They aren't a punching bag anymore in the AL East. This isn't the Melvin Mora Baltimore Orioles anymore, right? And you bring up a name like Adley Rutschman, and Adley Rutschman has been everything that has been advertised, if not even more. What we thought Matt Wieters was going to be before his injuries caught up with him is exactly what Adley Rutschman is, if not better. Adley Rutschman is a phenomenal young talent. If not by next year, I would consider Adley Rutschman as the best catcher in all of baseball. People may call me crazy for saying that, but defensively, he has gotten a lot better this year. His bat has speaks wonders. And just the culture that they're building in Baltimore around this young kid, you could tell he's going to be special for years to come. This is a franchise player that if I'm Baltimore, I would want to move him out of the position of catcher, probably to first base, just to save that bat. But I'm happy. I'll be cool with them keeping him as a catcher. But let's move on to the next topic. And obviously, this is something that kind of hurt the other day. But Domingo German, who has been pitching phenomenally over his past few starts, he got caught with the rosin or whatever sticky substance that he had in his glove and on his hand. He gets the 10-game suspension. Julian, I'm going to throw it over to you. What's your take, or what do you make of the Domingo German situation?
I think it's I don't know exactly what took place, and it's a little he said, she said. I'll be honest, I couldn't watch the game live when it took place, but I saw videos of it. And he's saying it's a dip and like the rosin or whatever. I know he's been pitching really well since that stuff happened against the Minnesota Twins. Like maybe something is going on, but we're losing him for 2 games that they need him. Sevy's going to have to be back for sure, which I wasn't 100% that was going to happen before German got suspended, but now he has to. But I mean, I just don't think he should have put himself in that position to be questioned, because I think it was the same crew that he had the problems with the Minnesota to suspend him back. So, like, it's just no awareness there. Not good.
Yeah, and my guy Pete put in the chat, it wasn't pine tar. You heard the broadcasters going over it, and you read the lips of the umpire, and they were all saying this may be rosin, this could look like rosin, and some people on Twitter saying that it was dip, that from chewing tobacco, because as you see in the picture right there, he does chew tobacco a lot. So I honestly don't know what to make of it. But My guys from Foul Territory, they said, in my opinion, if you get thrown out going back out to the mound, that's just stupidity. Lance Lynn was talking about it on the show. And if you're a pitcher that you know the light is on you, you know that they're looking at you, why would you put yourself in a situation like that to be even questioned, to even have that situation be a talking point? Carlos, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What do you make of this situation with German? Or as I like to call him, the German Sunday. Go ahead, Carlos. Sorry.
I saw a picture of it, and it looked like it was dip, but he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt over what happened previously. And like Julian said, I think it was the same crew before, so it's just a matter of he should have been a little bit more careful. But this is all on baseball for not providing not fixing the sticky tack issue during the off season. I think now they're testing a ball in Double-A, I want to say. So
yeah, it's Double-A.
Okay. All right, Dane, I'm going to throw it over to you. When it comes to the Domingo German situation, what's your thoughts on it? And can you speak on what Carlos was just talking about of them testing a ball in Double-A? Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Dane.
In the Nippon League over in Japan, they use a pre-tack ball that has grip on it, and they're trying something like that in Double-A. So pitchers have a way to grip it a little bit better. I think it's something that they need to incorporate in the major leagues, because everybody needs to grip a ball better when you're a pitcher. When you're throwing, if you lose grip on it, you can hurt your arm. We saw that with Tyler Glasnow. He's been out for 2 years because he couldn't grip the ball. They need to incorporate some kind of substance that's legal besides rosin. What Domingo got caught for, and I know this because I got a couple buddies that pitched, he dips. He puts chew spit on his hands, and it actually makes it stickier when you mix it with the rosin. That's what that was. I really don't know why he wouldn't wait till he was on the mound to do that, why he waited. And coming out of the dugout, that's beyond stupid for him to come out with stuff on his hands. You wash your hands. You can't put your team in a position like that. That's my take.
Yeah, and as you see, Brian Hoach on the screen got a quote from Domingo German, who says, "I've got to apologize to my teammates and my team. I'm putting them in a tough position right now." And like you said, Dane, you are. If that's the situation, that you laid out for us when it comes to whatever dip he's using and taking it out of his mouth and mixing it with the rosin, if it makes it stickier, and that the umpires are looking for you, the Yankees and the Blue Jays, they have this friction that's going right now, and the Blue Jays manager is going to try to do anything to get momentum on their side. Why would you give them an easy target like you when it comes to that? And like you said, wait till you're on the mound. Don't do it as you're going out there, as Lance Lynn said. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. TC, what's your thoughts on this before we move forward?
Yeah, real quick. It's 100% on Domingo. He was already warned that other game, and they checked his hand, and he knew what they were going to do, and he came out, and apparently he didn't clean his hand enough, and he got caught. So I understand, trying to get the grip, and who knows if it really helps, with the spin and all what they say, but
his spin rates were not up.
Yeah, so
that's what they said on the broadcast. Also, I'm sorry, TC, go ahead, bro.
No, I mean it's not, like the spider tack, the spin rates were up for everybody. This, according to Dane, it wasn't up. It's just he wanted more grip. He sweats a lot, so he wanted to have more grip on the ball. So, but again, he knows these umps are checking him out, because he had a target, because they were checking him already in a different game. So it's on him, and it's too bad. He hurt the team. You put us in a tough spot, having to go to the bullpen early in the game, and now we're out. He's gonna miss 2 starts, and we can't replace him in the on the roster. So it just it punishes the team more than anything. So it's too bad.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
No, 100% TC. You said it perfectly. And when you look at the 3 pitchers that have been spot starters for us or helping us out while we're dealing with injuries, German, Brito, and Clark Smith, Domingo German has been the better pitcher out of that trio, right? When you look at those extra pitchers that we had to lean towards, Domingo German has been the better pitcher, and this sucks that he has to go through this right now. like Pete says, this is something that MLB has to figure out. This is a
Yes, it
situation you
is.
have to lay down the parameters and the guidelines of what pitches can use and what pitches can't use. And if rosin, a mixture of rosin, spit, and dip is something you can't use, and if he broke the rules, he broke the rules, and he got to pay the penalty for it, right? Regardless if this is a Yankee pitcher or a pitcher on an opposing team, Julian, I know if this was a pitcher on the Baltimore Orioles or on the Toronto Blue Jays that were doing the same thing, us Yankee fans would have probably want that pitcher thrown out and suspended the same way Domingo German was thrown out and suspended. So Yankee fans, take your Yankee goggles off, put them to the side, and understand if Domingo German broke the rules, he has to pay the consequences. But MLB, they have to do a better job at laying out the parameters of what is the rules, what you can use and what you can't use. Because honestly, it kind of looks like MLB is just figuring the shit out as they go, right? And they're just letting games happen, and they're just figuring out the rules on the fly. Right, but let's switch gears just a little bit. We got Jacob Petruzzi in the building. Jacob, how you doing?
Jacob, what's up, buddy?
We got Jacob. Uncle Tats from the Pinstripe Chronicle is in the building. Tats, how you doing? If you guys can, let's run up the like button, smack the like button. We got 30 people in the building. Let's go. Now let's switch it over just a little bit to something that I think is a concern for us Yankee fans. Nesta Cortez. The story of Nesta Cortez has been phenomenal, right? You know, the way he had to fight and make it to the major league level, we all love that. As somebody that is not blessed with the most athleticism in the world, the story of Nesta Cortez, it inspires me to play MLB The Show and become a Hall of Famer. That's all I got to say about that. But when it comes to Nesta Cortez, has the magic run out on Nesta Cortez? My guys from Twitter, we got Sandy Stats that says Nesta Cortez over the last 3 games, he is 0-2. He has pitched 14 innings, 13 earned runs allowed. He is pitching to an 8.24 ERA. He is averaging 4.33 walks per 9 innings, 2.66 home runs allowed per 9 innings. Julian, I'm going to start the convo with you. Has the magic ran out on Nesta Cortez?
I think we're going to find out soon for sure, because I'm not going to fully give up yet, but it's been a bad stretch. I think he needs to readjust quickly. I mean, tonight's a big test, obviously, trying to win this hostile series against opponent lineup. He's been pitching terribly. As Sandy laid out with these stats, you can see none of them are particularly good. And he's been on a bad trend this year. His ERA's in the mid-5s, I think, now, or somewhere in that 5 range. So he's got to turn it around. The league figured him out. That's a problem. And it's the pitch clock messing him a little bit. I'm not going to go there. I don't think that's why he's struggling. I think the stuff just seems like it seems like the hitters know it's coming. I was checking his baseball savant page. Noah's swinging at his stuff at his own. Like his chase rate's terrible. It's like 14 or 15%. Like it seems like no one's not prepared to hit against him right now.
His chase rate
been off too.
Yeah, his chase rate is down. His whiff rate is down. Even when they're swinging at the pitches, they're making contact to it, so he's not getting those swinging misses like he was before. I know that you said that you don't think the pitch clock has anything to do with his struggles right now. I'm a little 50-50 when it comes to that, Julian, because last year and the year before, the best thing Nesta Cortez was able to do was keeping hitters off balance. They weren't sure if he was going to throw it right away or he was going to quick pitch them or however he took it. Now, when you have that pitch clock that's up there, he has to figure it out. Is he going to throw it at 8 seconds or is he going to throw it at 1 second? But I believe when it comes down to it, his cutter is not cutting anymore. It's just looking flat. It's just looking like just a batting practice fastball. Carlos, I'm going to throw it over to you. What's your take on Nesta Cortez, and has the magic run out on him?
I mean, the story was great last season, and I might get flack for it, but I thought that the Yankees should have made a decision when Ken Waldichuk was doing his thing. And I personally would have said, you know what, maybe you sell high on Nestor and you call up Waldichuk and you see what he can do for you right now. But as of right now, I mean, if the issue is that he can't get through the order the third time around, why not use an opener, bring him in the second or third inning? And see what he can do. That way he only faces the lineup once or twice and slowly build up his confidence again.
You bring up a great point before I throw it over to Dane about his times through the lineup. And my guy over on Twitter, Evil Empire, he put up amazing stats. Nesta Cortez, first time through the order, he is pitching to a 2.25 ERA, and he has a 4.52 on-base percentage when it comes to hitters. His second time through the lineup, he He is pitching to a 1.76 ERA with a 673 OPS. But when you get to the third time through the lineup, he has an ERA 17.55 with an OPS of 1.457. Dane, I'm going to throw it over to you. Same question. What's your take on Nesta Cortez, brother?
For me, Nestor, it's mechanics. That front side is flying open, and everything's flat because of it. If he can get back where his pitches have the traditional shape that they did last year and the year before, he'll be fine. But as soon as that front side goes open, he's leaving balls out and up. He's getting balls too low. It's a mechanical issue, in my opinion. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's a 2-point whatever ERA starter that he was last year. I think he's a mid-threes guy. But he's got to get those mechanics ironed out so he can get the sharp movement back on his pitches, or he's going to get pounded. He doesn't have the velocity or the movement to get away with throwing like he does unless his command and his front side is sharp.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This may be a mechanic issue. You see Alex Manoah's, he doesn't have the break on his slider like he had once before. Nesta Cortez, he's not getting the sharp break that he was used to getting on his cutter. Remember, Nesta Cortez was able to operate the outside, both outsides of the plates flawlessly. He was able to pitch north, south, east to west. Now it's just he's just pitching to one side of the strike zone, and it's hurting him a lot. Even when he elevates his fastball, they're ready for it. It's like they know that cutter's coming, and they're just teeing off on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw this on Twitter. I think each one of his home runs he has given up -1 was on that cutter. Right, he gave up 1 on a slider, and every other home run he has given up was on that cutter. TC, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your take on Nesta? I know we touched on this on the last episode on Tuesday, but for the people that didn't watch it, what's your take on it, TC?
Yeah, I think you guys covered it. I mean, he is a finesse pitcher, and location is key for him. If he's not hitting his location, he doesn't have the Cole fastball to punch people out. And again, he needs to make adjustments too. First 2 times through the lineup, the third time maybe pitch backwards, mix it up. And I brought this up in Pete's chat that I think a good person he should talk to is Andy Pettit. He reminds me of Andy Pettit, and to work on the cutter, because these guys are just sitting on his cutter. It's just not working. The right-handers are just pounding that cutter. So he needs some adjustments. With maybe Matt Blake can figure this out. But yeah, if he could get some pointers from Andy Pettit, I think that would help him out.
And you bring up Matt Blake, and I just want to throw this one question around before we jump into the prospect talk. But you bring up Matt Blake, and am I off to say that when it comes to Matt Blake and him teaching that cutter, it hasn't worked out that well over here with the Yankees, right? He tried it last year with Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole gave up the most home runs he had in a season in his entire career. Nesta Cortez was the outlier of it. Nesta Cortez the last 2 seasons was phenomenal. This year is a bit shaky. He tried to teach that cutter to Clark Smith. It didn't work out for Clark Smith. So am I off base by saying that the magic for Matt Blake, it hasn't transferred that well over here to the Yankees? Julian, I started over with you and then throw it over to Carlos and then Dane.
I actually did a video on Garrett Cole's pitches last year. The big thing that was the difference in the home runs given up was that he took away the cutter. I think it was like 4 homers out in the cutter. Like he was throwing the fastball and a little bit more like the changeup and stuff. And Clark Schmidt in the cutter has been an absolute disaster, obviously. Like it looked good in spring training, but it's not looking good now. Nesta Cortez in the cut, not doing it right now. Felt like last year it was working better for some guys. I thought it was working well for Montgomery a little bit before he ended up getting traded, but this year doesn't look too good. I think it's good that Cole got rid of it, obviously, because you're seeing a big difference. That was part of the thing that's helped him, I think.
Yeah, and as great as Harrison Bader has been for us over here with the Yankees, love Harrison Bader, love everything that he brings defensively, the energy, the hustle. But Jordan Montgomery has turned himself into some type of starting pitcher over there with St. Louis. I'm not sure if it's just switching from the AL to the NL. He's pitching more in pitchers friendly ballparks, but Jordan Montgomery has turned himself into a solid pitcher over there with St. Louis. Carlos, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your take on what I brought up with Matt Blake and that cutter?
I mean, it's for all these coaches, hitting coaches, pitching coaches. It's what have you done for me lately, right? You can live off of one guy or two guys that you've suddenly, turned around. But then once the situation like with Cortez rears his head, then what do you do? Now you need to look for the next thing. How do you fix Cortez or some of these other guys like, for example, Holmes? How do you fix those guys? Fix those guys, and then you can get some of your luster back.
Yes, we got Crackle Nuts in the building. Crackle Nuts, how you
Crackle
doing,
nuts, buddy?
We got Jason from 161 River Ave who says Monty is utilizing his fastball more than he did in New York. Way more. Yeah, that's a good note right there, Jason. But shout out to Jason from 161 River Ave. Dane, same question coming your way when it comes to Matt Blake. What's your thoughts on Matt Blake? I know his philosophy when it comes to pitching is phenomenal, but what's your take on the whole cutter situation not working for some pitchers?
Sometimes a cutter works, sometimes a cutter doesn't. It's a very personalized feel pitch that each individual guy's got to take and make their own. I'm a big fan of Matt Blake, what he's doing throughout the system with Eric Cressy and Sam Breen. So, and a couple of guys he's taught the cutter to, one we're going to talk about later, and Will Warren has used it to a lot of success this year. So I think he's got to just figure out which pitchers need it and which pitchers have the arm angle and the arm motion that consistently keep your mechanics in so you can land that pitch consistently.
Yeah, copy. TC, what's your thoughts on it before we move on to the next topic, brother?
Yeah, it varies from pitcher to pitcher. I mean, the cutter doesn't work for everybody, and we saw Mariano Rivera. The cutter was his only pitch, and it worked. But for maybe Nestor, it's just a feel, and he can't get it, correct, on a consistent basis. But I'll tell you what, with what Matt Blake has done with the relievers, it's amazing. I mean, some of these guys, Lou Trevino, Ian Hamilton, and Clay Holmes. Some of these guys were
Mike King.
Really, Michael King.
Yeah,
these guys weren't these type pitchers on other teams, and they come into the Yankees, and Clay Holmes becomes the closer. I mean, where'd that come from? So he's done some amazing work with certain pitchers. Some just it just hasn't worked out.
Yeah. I see people are killing me for the comments I made about Monty, but this is what I was bringing up. Before his last start against the Chicago Cubs, Jordan Montgomery was pitching to a 3.29 ERA. He had a start against the Cubs where he gave up 6 runs, elevated his ERA to 4.11, and now he had a start against Milwaukee. He gave up 3 runs, elevated his ERA to 4.21. So before his last 2 starts, he was pitching pretty good. Hopefully he turns it around, but no, I'm agreeing with everyone in the chat. I 100% love Harrison Beta. Love that Harrison Beta is here. When you look at the plays he made over the past couple of days, if that was Aaron Hicks in center field, those catches don't happen.
No.
Even if it was Aaron Judge in center field, those catches don't happen. But Harrison Beta has been phenomenal. But let's switch gears and have the conversation that I brought you fellas here to have. Let's talk about the Yankee prospects, right? Dane, I'm going to throw it over to you so you to lead the convo, then throw it over to Julian and Carlos, because I keep bringing up the fact that the Yankees came into the season without a starting left fielder. Dane, you was talking to me backstage. You was bringing me away from the cliff. But Dane, you start the convo, then throw it over to Julian. What's your take when it comes to the Yankees and the prospects in the system, and what do us fans have to look out for?
Oh, you got a lot to look out for. Will Warren got a bump yesterday to AAA. Right. He's 1 step away. I think he's probably the best bet to take our rotation spot from whoever's leaving next year. I think he's going to be very good. He added a 4-seam and a cutter this year. And that's really allowed him to take his strikeouts to the next level. I think he's going to be very, very good there. Jason Dominguez is a big name that's been going around. Everybody's been killing him because of his batting average. You got to take a deeper look at those stats and see that they aren't pitching to him. And look how much he's walking versus striking out. It's a real close to a 1-to-1 ratio. It has been in the last week.
Very good.
It's been excellent. He's stealing bases. He's 13 for 14. I think he's going to be your left fielder in August. I really, really do.
Wow.
Oh wow, you think it's gonna happen that quick? I don't know.
Yeah. Look at the plate discipline that he's showing. What is it that he needs to prove at AA? He's not getting pitches to hit, so why not move him up a level where they actually might pitch to him?
I think I want to see a little bit more. I don't think he's been there long enough yet. I mean, I want him to get up there too, and I want to see his defense improve a little bit. I think he does nice offensively, but I think he might be better suited for left field than center field because
absolutely he's not a center field.
If we're gonna be honest here, he has been playing a lot of left this year, which is good. They've kind of been alternating him and Everson, so I kind of like that they're getting him ready for that potential opportunity. I think he could make it up to the Bronx potentially. I just don't want to rush his progress to fill a problem at the big league level. Like, I just want the process to be smooth, hopefully, because we see the growing pains with Anthony. Obviously, Jason's gonna have those too. We gotta realize that.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, and I'll throw it back to Dane after I make this. The games that he has been playing in the minor leagues, he has. Hold on, I just want to get the number correct when I say this. He has played a total of 30 games at AA. And more than, I want to say, half of his games have been in left field. I think it's an even split. I think it's like 17 games have been in left field, 13 games have been in center field, 14, 13, like that. So, yeah, the majority of his games, they have been in left field. And I think it's because the Yankees are trying to fast track him and get him ready to play left field in the big leagues.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Dane, when it comes to that.
Is.
But I can see Julian's statement of getting him more seasoning at the AA level before bringing him up to AAA. Because when you look at his numbers, and I'll throw it over to Carlos to get his take on it, right now he has a 210 batting average, right? But even with his batting average being what it is, Dane has pointed it out, that batting average is like that because they're pitching around him like he is Barry Bonds. He has a 385 on-base percentage, which is crazy. He has an on-base percentage that is 175 points higher than his batting average. Carlos, I'll throw it over to you. What's your takes when it comes to Jason Dominguez? And I'll throw it right back to Julian.
I'm the president of the Jason Dominguez fan club, and I definitely agree with Julian. His play in center field sometimes is a bit adventurous. So I could definitely see him in the long term being a left fielder. And as far as his offense, yes, the batting average is there, but all of the other numbers are there. If you look at his last 15, he's hitting 298, 436, 1016 OPS. His last 10, he's hitting 325. So he is coming around. Dane is a little more eager to get him to New York. I definitely want to give him more time. I don't want the Yankees to have to go through the situation where the Braves went with what's his name, with Pache.
Pache. Yeah, great point. Yeah. Great point, Carlos.
Well, yeah, I think they made a good point about Dominguez's swing decisions. I've seen a lot of his at bats at home, but I've only seen him chase a few times. Like, there's only one at bat I really saw him go out of the zone. Like, he's talked about his discipline a lot at the plate, so everything is there. I agree. The pitches to him haven't been great. He did launch a homer the other day. I think he grabbed a hit yesterday too, so it is starting to come around. I mean, the Somerset has a deep lineup. Like, they have to pitch him a little bit because it's not like Dominguez is the only guy who can hurt them on that team. I think with Austin Wells being back, it helps a lot because now they got to worry about Wells too. So
I was just about to say that. I wonder if his hitting improved because Wells is hitting behind him now.
Yeah, I think that helps out a lot.
Yeah. Julian, you see him more than any of us see him, like when it comes to in life and seeing him on the field. Can you talk to us about his preparation and how he goes about his day-to-day business when it comes to Jason Dominguez?
Yeah, I think he does a good job of it. Harrison Bader was telling me some stuff, how he's trying to help him get the outfield routes together. Like, he works hard, he puts the time in. He's very focused on baseball. I mean, pre-game, you'll see him out there doing his routines and stuff. I mean, obviously, everyone takes BP and everything, but I think Dominguez is very focused on what he has to do. Like, he does. Everyone says he's very mature. He does seem like he's very mature for his age. Some guys even looks at him as a leader in certain aspects. I'm not sure with this double A team because they have a lot of guys that have been there, and some guys, Dominguez 1 2, but like some older guys. So, yeah, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He really enjoyed the spring experience. Like he was grateful to go through the spring training with the older guys too, and he thought that was really good.
Yeah. TC, what's your thoughts on this before we just move on? And when it comes to Jason Dominguez, I want to see the Martian up here at the major league level ASAP, because this is a kid that we've been hearing about before the pandemic, before we was on lockdown. You feel me? Like before COVID and anything like that, we've been hearing about Jason Dominguez when he was 16, 17 years old. TC, what's your takes on it before we continue, bro?
Yeah, it's been a lot of hype, and I know the Yankee fans are just dying to see him because we don't have a left fielder, and we need somebody athletic like him. But I don't think we should rush him. I think we should give him some. He needs at least 40 to 50 at bats in AAA too to actually make that jump, because it's a big jump from AAA to the major league level. But Dane has a good point. He's has some good at bats, and he's walking, and the on base percentage is great. But see if that carries over to AAA, because it's a big jump to the major leagues.
Yeah, and stealing all the bases. That's
I was just about to bring that up, Julian. He's 13 out of 14 when it comes to stolen bases. He's only been caught once. So the speed of Anthony Volpe, the speed of Jason Dominguez, that is what our team has been missing for years. Years. When's the last time that on May 18th we could say we have a Yankee that has double digits in stolen bases like Anthony Volpe does? It's been a long time.
Like maybe Severino or Brett Gardner, something like that.
It's been a long time. Even when it comes to Brett Gardner, he didn't get his double-digit steals until later on in the season. But the way that the bases are shaped right now, Anthony Volpe, you can say whatever his struggles are when it comes to his batting average. I look at it the same way like Jason Dominguez. He is staying with his same approach. He is not trying to go out there and swing at every pitch that he sees. Yes, he gets into some 0-2 counts. That's him being more patient than him being just wild swinging up there. So when it comes to Anthony Volpe, by the time the season is over, I think us Yankee fans will be happy with his batting average. But Julian, I'm going to throw the next question over to you, because you brought up Austin Wells, who I think his mustache is ready for the Bronx, right? But I understand he had an injury, wasn't able to play in spring training. What's your thoughts on Austin Wells, and do you see a fast track for him to get to the major league level?
Yeah, I might potentially. I think he might not have much time left in Double-A at this point. He had a really good year last year. He had 4 straight games with a home run. He's hitting the shit out of the ball. He's playing. His defense is improving too. Although I saw one throw yesterday that was pretty bad. I think it was Tuesday. Like he one-hopped it to second, wasn't too pretty. Like on the left side of the bag. I mean, he needs work back there. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But like it is getting better than like where it started. Like I think he could at least be like a serviceable defensive catcher in the majors. It's never going to be like a stud back there, but as long as he could be at least like around average, I think that's good enough with how his back can play.
Yeah. Carlos, same question coming to you. When it comes to Austin Wells, how long do you think it would take before he's in the Bronx mashing home runs with that beautiful mustache? Go ahead, Carlos.
It could definitely be sometime this year. I think the bat plays as it is right now. It's just a matter of getting the front office to believe in his ability to catch. And if you look at his numbers from last season to the previous season, everything across the board defensive wise did increase. He caught stealing from 13% to 25%. His frame rate increased from 2.6 to 9.4. Just everything for him, just a tremendous jump in his defensive ability from one year to the next.
Okay, Dane, same question going your way when it comes to Austin Wells. Go ahead, brother.
The question for me with offense, Austin Wells, is his arm. That's the biggest question behind the plate for me. He can block the ball. He handles the pitching. Frame. He can handle pitching staffs incredibly well. If you listen to the pitchers that he pitches to, they love the kid. It also helps him that he's best friends with Anthony Volpe and he lives at his parents' house.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't either till this week, but he does. And to have that kind of buddy on the team, I think the Yankees want that. As far as with the bat, Austin Wells has always been able to hit. We knew that coming out of Arizona. We've known that. The kid can flat hit. It's just if he can be good enough behind the plate to be league average. And I asked this question to Carlos the other day on our podcast. Is he better than Gary Sanchez right now? And he is. And if he's better than Gary Sanchez right now with that kind of bat, I think he can help sooner than later.
That's a strong point. Go ahead, Carlos.
Piggybacking off what Dane said. I mean, yes, he's better than Gary in terms of framing and blocking and understanding the game. You know, his IQ, his baseball IQ is way higher than Gary was. And yeah, while he doesn't have the arm that Gary does, you know, no one's gonna confuse his arm for Gary's or even Benito Santiago's. But you know, because I think I saw last week, I forgot, maybe Julian might know, the kid from Boston, the center field prospect. I forgot what his name is. I think he stole 7 bases on him in the game. But everything else, yes, stole 7 bases in the game. But everything else, you know, you're gonna get from him. Everything else.
Yeah. And I actually was thinking about the Sanchez comment in my head. I didn't want to say it, so having you guys brought it up, I was like, could the defense be better than Gary? And if he could, then like I agree with you guys that you can give him a shot. The arm, like you guys said, definitely not better. So, but Sevy enjoyed throwing to him, and he actually called the whole game for Sevy. Sevy didn't even like shake him really. Sevy just went with what he wanted. So that was interesting. A lot of breaking balls got hit hard though, but I mean it's a rehab start.
Yeah, TC, what's your thoughts on Austin Wells before I chime in? Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I'd love to see him up here. His swing is perfect for Yankee Stadium. I mean, if he works out, I mean, hitting wise, there's no problem there. But yeah, the catching, he needs to work on that because I'd see him as backing up Trevino pretty soon. But we're forgetting about the mystery man, Ben Rortvet, is heating up in AAA.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you fellas, is he even a real human being? Because I don't even know if he's real. Is he just a mirage? Yeah. Like, is that an actual human being, Julian? Have you heard that man talk? Go ahead, Julian.
I don't know, but actually, have I heard him speak? To be honest, I don't entirely know. But I was by him in spring training, and I did see him actually hit and do catching drills. I kind of did hear him speak a little bit. He was talking to like Piggy and someone else, but it dug out.
It wasn't AI.
It wasn't. You sure it was him and it wasn't AI, Julian? Because you know technology crazy now. No, but I want to bring something up. You guys talk about Austin Wells and his bat. You could tell that from a hitting perspective, you could tell he's going to be special. Right. Yes. I saw his first, not his first game, but his first series when he was playing for the Tampa Bay Tarpons. Last year, I went down to Florida and I was able to see him being up in Tampa, him and Jason Dominguez for the first time together. And I'm going to tell you this, he hit a ball that left George M. Steinbrenner Field. Everybody was speechless, right? His first home run, it left the ballpark and everybody was speechless. Defensively, he was throwing guys out from his knee. I'm not sure if it was just slow guys running on him, but from what I saw from Austin Wells, he seems like he was born to be a Yankee. You know, you got some guys that they just carry themselves with that Yankee swagger. That's what Austin Wells does. He carries himself with that Yankee swagger. Go ahead, Julian. Yes. You want to chime in real quick?
Yeah, he's an interesting interview too. Like he kind of like seems like he's very well prepped for the interviews. And he gets a lot of the questions about his defense. He handles it pretty well. I think he's like very used to it at this point. Like people have asked about different positions and stuff. I think it's still going to come up potentially because you look at this team right now. I mean, could they DH him? Could they even people would even say outfield? I doubt that would happen, but it's been talked about. And our defense at catching is actually good, but the thing is, it's interesting because we can't hit on offense with our catchers really, and he can really hit well. So you would be. It would be a big change if he was.
Yeah, and we need him to work out as a catcher.
And he's as a catcher, he's not a slug. He has a little bit of speed to him. It's not like he's a slow catcher. He has some speed to him.
He's perfect for stolen bases in his career with the Yankee.
It's kind of crazy. It's like I think it's like 17 for 17.
More, it's like 33 for 33, and he stole home.
That's the last 2 years. You guys are right.
Yeah, he has surprising speed for a catcher. Shout out to my guy NYY News Ruben, who always is giving the stats and the facts. Roy back in 14 games in AAA. He has 5 doubles, 3 home runs. He is batting .327. He has a .412 on base percentage, a .612 slugging. So that's a combined OPS of 1.033. Listen, I'm sold on it. as much as I love Kyle Higashioka, the home run stroker, that bat doesn't play that well. And having a guy like Ben Brobeck, who is a left-handed hitter as well, I think will complement this lineup perfectly. We all know defensively, he's a defensive master behind the plate, but him having a little bit of offense will help us out also. Dane, you wanted to chime in real quick before we switch gears?
Duran in AAA, he's hitting over 300 with an OPS over 1,000 as a catcher. He is a very good defensive catcher. We got him from Philly last year. I think that if we don't see him for us, I think you're going to see other teams start calling for him as a backup. He just can hit. And we're pretty deep in catching depth.
Yeah, you got Narvaez too, who was playing.
Yeah,
really
you
well.
do.
So,
Narvaez, he just got the call up.
Yeah. No,
Anthony Sligler, who's been dealing with injuries since the Yankees drafted him. That was a kid that I thought was going to shoot through the system, being a switch hitter, having a little bit of pop in his bat. But it's a guy that just had a bad luck of injuries. You know, he's always had to come back from injuries, Anthony Sligler.
He's a contact bat more than he's a power bat. He walks more than he strikes out. He runs pretty well. Siegler's not a power guy.
That's a good point. He doesn't hit the ball that hard, really.
No,
that's another issue with him. But he will. Who knows what will happen with that? The Yankees catching is very deep, though. That's for sure.
I want to switch gears to Will Warren. Julian, you've been, covering Somerset. He just got called up to AAA. What's your assessment of Will Warren? And this is something I was talking to Dane backstage, saying that at least when it comes to Will Warren, the hype machine, the prospect hype machine wasn't started early. Normally, Yankees, we love to hype up our prospects once we drafted them. But Will Warren is one of those guys that flew under the radar when it comes to like the hype machine. What's your take on Will Warren, and how good do you think he's going to be?
I think the radar has been broken at this point, but last year he flew under it very steadily. I mean, he gets a quick call up to Somerset. He was drafted in 21. He's already in AAA now. This year, he just looked great on the mound. He was overmatching hitters in AA. He was ready for the call up. He added a color the offseason, like you guys were talking about before. That's really helped him out. His breaking ball's ridiculously good. I think his fastball's like mid to upper 90s in certain situations. He's gonna be really good. He just needs to get more innings under his belt to build the arm up even more. He wore it down a little bit towards the end of last year because like he had pitched a lot more than he had in college. Like it was the most innings of his career, he was saying. So I think you'll see even better this year towards the end of the year. I think he could get the call all the way up, because the Yankees don't have a good option right now behind what you're currently seeing. Will Warren could be the best option in AAA already, even though he just got there. So that's something to look for. I would say like maybe towards the second half of the year, though, because they're going to want to see how he handles the AAA adjustment.
Carlos, same question going to you when it comes to Will Warren. What's your assessment of him, and what do you think his odds over and under? What do you think the odds are that he'll be in the major leagues this season or next season? Go ahead, Carlos.
Well, first, the way the pitchers drop in the Yankees rotation, it's a highly possible that we will see him this year.
We got injuries, we got suspension. Everybody is missing time. Go ahead, Carlos.
But, as far as Warren, I think the biggest thing for him besides the cutter is he's added about 2-3 ticks on the fastball, and it's it's resonating onto the field. I think he went from about 8 Ks per 9 to like 11 and change, almost 12 this season. So that's definitely helping out.
All right. Dane, same question coming your way when it comes to Will Warren. Go ahead, brother.
I love Warren. The Yankees got him in 2021, completely rebuilt his whole pitch package. He started him off by taking away the 4-seam, giving him a 2-seam, a slider, and a changeup, and he ran with that. He was a contact pitcher last year, and coming into this winter, he added the 4-seam at the top of the zone and that cutter that gives him premier strikeout pitches to go along with his slider. And I think he's going to be a very good pitcher. He has all the skills necessary to be a 2-3 type, maybe better. We'll see how it ends up, but he's got everything that you want. And I think he can also help him out of the bullpen too, because he can pare his pitches down to where he's 2 or 3 pitches, and he can go multi innings out of the bullpen. I think he's going to be a stud for me. I think he's going to be end up in our rotation next year.
Okay, all right. I got another question before we switch gears just a little bit on the prospects. But when it comes to Dominguez and Everson Pereira, I'm gonna start off with you, Julian. Who do you think gets the call to AAA first, Dominguez or Pereira?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a good question, to be honest with you. I mean,
and shout out to my guy NYY News Ruben for the question. He sent it to me on Twitter, and he said, "Ask the fellas this one." Go ahead, Julian.
Okay, I mean, Everson's been getting a little bit hot his last 8 games. Somerset just posted something with his stats, how he's been hitting. I would have previously said Everson's a slam dunk, but at this point, I mean, it's close to say. But Everson's got 10 hits, 4 homers, and 8 ribbies in his last 8 games. So it's starting to come together for him. He kind of had a little bit of a slow start, too. But you're starting to see some things materialize. I think that one of them's going to have to get moved up soon because Spencer Jones is lurking at Hudson Valley. He's looking like
that's going to be my next one.
Somerset.
That's
so,
the guy.
I don't know. I guess I'll still give Everson a slight lead, but I won't rule the Martian out.
Everson right now in 110 at-bats. He has a 255 batting average, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, and he also has 5 stolen bases and was caught twice. So he's 5 out of 7 when it comes to stolen bases. So another guy that has some athleticism and he could get on base and still
steal bases. He's very athletic.
Yeah, Carlos, same question going your way when it comes down to Pereira and Jason Dominguez. Who do you think gets the call up to AAA first?
If at the start of the season, I thought it would be Pereira because I said, if he had stayed on the field, this guy would have hit over 25 home runs. But his issue is that he can't always stay on the field. So for me, that's the most important thing that I wanted to see from him this year was his ability to stay healthy. Who gets the call first? I would probably say Pereira because he probably has had more experience at a AA level. And like Julian said, he's getting hot right now. And the thing about him is that when he gets hot, those home runs come in bunches from him.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do. He's just got to cut out that swing and miss. It's still the biggest problem.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think his strikeout rate is at 31%, which is a bit higher than I would want to see for him. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Dane, same question coming your way when it comes to those two. Who do you think gets fast-tracked to AAA?
I think it's Dominguez for me. From what I've seen from Pereira, the strikeout rates are still high. That's a big concern. Is that going to get better as he goes up? I don't know. I think Dom has more plate discipline. He has more bat-to-ball skills. That's just my take. I think he's a little bit more. And as we saw from Dominguez in spring training, he can have professional bats against big league pitchers. And I think he's a little more ready to handle that kind of elite pitching than Pierre does with all the swing and miss in his game.
No, yeah, I can see it with that. And my guy Pete in the chat says Everson has been on the 40-man roster for quite a bit as well. He has to get moving. Yeah. And maybe Everson Pereira, he is one of those prospects that, instead of holding on to, is one of those guys that we use in the trade at the trade deadline, right? Depending on how Ben Royback works out, we can have any one of our other prospects that you guys brought up, him being another trade chip to trade for another team, because we do need something at the major league level, whether that's another starting pitcher or whether that's a reliever. But TC, I'm gonna throw it your way when it comes to Dominguez and Pereira. What's your take? Who do you want to see at AAA before I get into our last question for the fellas?
Yeah, Dominguez is young. I don't know. I'd say Pereira would probably be the first to get to AAA, but like you guys were saying, I think he's a trade chip, and I think he's getting the Peraza treatment. I think all the eyes are on Dominguez as this, hyped up, outfielder, prospect, phenom, Mickey Mantle. So I think they want Dominguez. They want to rush him through. I don't know. I think they should just take their time. But yeah, Pereira, I think he's more of a trade chip. But I do see him getting the call up to AAA, maybe to have more eyes on him as far as it goes for a trade.
Copy. So I want to switch it over to the last prospect I want to talk about, Mr. Spencer Jones. Now, this is a guy that he's a product from Vanderbilt. We all know guys who go to that program, they're normally more polished than other prospects that get drafted into the into the minor leagues. But Julian, I'm going to start it off with you. What's your assessment with Spencer Jones? And do you think he'll get a call up to Somerset pretty soon?
Yeah, I do. I think he'll probably get it within the next month or so. I think the guy's a freak of nature. He's a physical specimen. There's nothing he can't do well. I mean, he's even playing good defense in center field. He's stealing bases too. He already has 10 steals on the year, and he has 27 ribbies. His OPS is over 1,000. I mean, he looks like the single A pitching's not enough for him. It's only 28 games, but he's killing his at bats. And like I said, the defense looks good, the speed looks good. He's like he's like a lefty Aaron Judge, dare I say it.
Listen, that's a comparison that people have been saying. He's the left-handed Aaron Judge. He got the same height. He about 6'7". He could play the outfield, could play the first base, but that may be a little bit of extra pressure you're putting on the young kid. But I love Spencer Jones. Carlos, what's your take on Spencer before I throw it over to Dane?
Yeah, man, there's nothing that Spencer Jones can't do. I mean, the only issue that I had with his game was basically his strikeout rate is a little bit higher. I got into it with somebody about this the other day where they tried to tell me, well, Aaron Judge went through the same exact thing at that age. And I actually had to look it up, and he didn't. Aaron Judge's strikeout rate never went above 25% in the minor leagues, and Spencer's a 30. Yeah, it's coming down. He did just hit a wall a couple weeks ago where he was like 4 for 30 or 4 for 35, something like that. And he's come around, which you do want to see that. You want to see how players get over that hump when they hit that wall. And he's doing everything he needs to do to get to Somerset.
Yeah. Dane's same question going your way. And the comparison to the lefty Judge that Julian said, what's your thoughts on that real quick? Go ahead, Dane.
I don't see him as a lefty Judge. If you look at his athleticism, they have measured that. He's a more athletic guy than Aaron Judge. He's a faster runner than Aaron Judge. This is something I found incredible. He had 2 triples in 2 weeks ago that were clocked from home to third base in sub 11 seconds. The fastest recorded in the last 5 years was Corbin Carroll at 10.75. Jones is 6'7", 250. And he's running sub 11 second triples. The guy is off the chain fast. He wasn't a hitter in high school. He was a pitcher. So he's relatively new to hitting. So we got to give him a little bit more time because he's only been doing it for 3 years. But I think he is going, once everything clicks in, I think he's got one of the highest ceilings in the game. I think he's a version of Kyle Tucker, but with more power and a little bit more speed. I can't say enough positive things about Spencer Jones as far as the way I feel about him. I think he's going to be incredible. I think he's going to stick in center field for at least the beginning of his career. I don't know. I'm a huge fan.
So you don't see any of the talks, and I'll ask Julian and Carlos also about him being moved to first base because of his size. You think his athleticism will help him stay in the outfield?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Julian.
don't see him at first.
I don't see him at first either. Maybe he'll get shifted to a corner, but he could do center too.
Carlos, same thing.
Yeah, I don't see him moving to first at all. The guy can play the outfield. And just piggybacking off of what Dane said, I don't see him as an Aaron Jones because I don't know why I keep saying that. Aaron Judge, because he's more of
Aaron Jones.
He's more of a line drive. I'm sorry, I'm thinking fantasy football. He's more of a line drive hitter who didn't have enough loft, and the Yankees were trying to tinker with his swing to get more loft in him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dane.
It's just I forgot what I was going to say about him because Carlos took the words out of my mouth, bro. It was the launch angle.
The launch.
Yeah, the launch angle. He hits the ball more like Giancarlo Stanton on that line that is just absolutely ripped. You don't see a lot of high, majestic balls when he barrels it well. And it's going to be how much loft he adds. It will determine his home run rate. But everything else, the guy does incredibly well.
Nice.
Especially for someone who's so young on the position side. And
nice. Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead and finish.
I'm
sorry.
I'm done. Sorry.
Okay, all I was going to say, TC, I know Spencer Jones is your guy, is the prospect that you're keeping your eye on. What's your take when it comes to Spencer Jones and, piggyback of what any of the fellas said? Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, what I've seen so far, he looks phenomenal, and he looks more of a contact line drive hitter, but his bat, velocity off his, his bat is just off the charts. And hey, in Yankee Stadium, left-handed hitter, we need outfielders. So let's not move these guys around. I'm tired of them trying to move every single guy to a different position. Let them play the outfield, whether it's center or left. Who knows? But we need outfielders. Let's keep him there. And honestly, I see him breaking camp with the Yankees next year. I think so.
That's a real strong possibility.
Strong words. And like Dane said, strong possibility. Julian, I'm going to throw it over to you. This is the last question I have for you fellas before we wrap it up. When it comes to the minor league system, we all know the names that we talked about: Dominguez, Pereira, Jones, Will Warren. Is there a prospect that is flying under the radar that you think Yankee fans don't know about and should keep an eye on?
Flying under the radar, I don't know about. I mean, people.
And I'm sorry, Julian, for putting you on the spot like this. I apologize, but go ahead, bro.
I guess someone I could say is Caleb Durbin, who just got called up to Somerset. It's an interesting guy. He was in the Lucas Licky trade. He's been good in the infield already, but he's got to adjust to Somerset a little bit. People know about Clayton Beater now, I think, so I want to really use that one. People aren't really talking about Trey Sweeney that much, though, although he might be another one that's a trade chip. So I'll give you a few.
You've watched Trey Sweeney over the past couple of years or whatever. What's your assessment of Trey Sweeney, and why do you think that he is one of those prospects that are like in the middle and hasn't like jumped up in the rankings?
I think he's blocked by the guys we have in our system, honestly, because he's not going to be a shortstop for the Yankees. His hitting's doing really well, though. He's like he could be a good contact bat for the Yankees if he ever gets up there. Go to lefty swing. His defense is definitely improving this year too. It definitely looks a lot better. There's been some talk about moving him to other positions, although it hasn't happened yet.
Copy.
Hey, guys, I have another name I want to throw out there. How about Tyler Hardman?
That's a good one.
What's
That's a good one.
outlook on him? Yeah.
You go first, Julian, and then throw it over to Carlos and Dane.
His defense at third needs work, I would say. His bat is coming along, but I saw one game he had a rough day. Like he had a really bad throw. I think there was like 2 errors in one game. I mean, he might be more of a first baseman, but his bat's really good.
Carlos, same question going your way. Is there any prospects that some of the fans don't know about, and it's on your radar? And the same thing about that third baseman TC brought up. Go ahead, Carlos.
Absolutely, I have two. I have Jared Serna at Tampa, and Chase Hampton at Hudson Valley.
He just took mine.
Go ahead, Carlos. Speak on those two prospects you brought up.
Jared Serna has just been phenomenal. He's another one of those short guys. He's like 5'6", kid out of Mexico, but he went through a string where in 15 games he was hitting near almost 500. I think he just matched his his professional high for home runs. I think last night he homered, or maybe it was the day before. Wow. But the kid has been phenomenal. He went on a 10-game stretch where he was hitting like 510 or something like that. And then, like I said, you had Chase Hampton over at Hudson Valley, who I like more than Drew Thorpe right now. The kid is just phenomenal. I love his presence on the mound. He's very fiery. Okay.
All right. Dane, since Carlos stole your thunder, do you have anybody else you want to bring up, Dane?
I got to add Jared Serna. I think that the kid is phenomenal. He has been a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk guy for 3 years now. You don't see kids who walk more than they strike out, that play the middle infield, starting in the DSL. He did it in the FCL, and now he's doing it in low A. He was hitting almost 400 last week or 2 weeks ago for the year. He went 4 for 5 last night with 4 runs scored with the home run. The kid does everything. The other guy,
they're having him move around more. I think he's a second baseman, but they're having him play shortstop and third base.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I wanted to ask you fellas one more before we get up. No, it's fine. It's fine. Andres Chaparro. What is taking the Yankees to call up our friend Julian Andres Chaparro? I'll start it off with you, Julian. What's going on? Did he fart in front of one of the Yankee execs, and that's the reason he ain't up here? Go ahead, Julian.
Oh man, I love this kid to death. I just saw him recently at an event by Frank Luna, who does a great job putting out these events. Another Paul O'Neill coming up June 5th. Little plug for Frank at the Stony Pony in Asbury Park. But Chappie, I think it's a positional problem. There's nowhere to play him, unfortunately. I would say try to DH him, but now that situation's kind of full too. You had a window with Stan being injured for a while, and you still do have one technically. If the offense starts to struggle again, I think you should bring him in the lineup and maybe put him at first a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't think he could give Rizzo a day off here and there. Unfortunately, I don't think he could probably play third at the MLB level yet. It doesn't seem like that's feasible. I mean, that would be an opening, but it doesn't seem like it's a realistic option, unfortunately. But, I mean, the bat is big league ready. I don't need to say anything else, I don't think.
Carlos, same question going your way, and throwing over to Dane before we wrap it up.
I love Chappie since he had his first hit, which was on May 8th. After he broke that almost 0 for 29 streak, he's hitting 311. The strikeouts are down tremendously. I think he was over 30%. Now he's at like 21%. There's no reason that the bat can't play at the major league level, in my opinion. With piggyback of what Julian said, yeah, there's some issues with the defense. He could probably spell Rizzo at first base, but I thought he should have gotten like a 2-month audition at DH and just see what he could do because this team needs offense.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, 100% good point. Dane, same thing over to you before we wrap it up, brother.
There's not much I can say that Julian and Carlos didn't say. For me, he's a DH. I see a lot of Nelson Cruz in the kid. I don't know what position he's going to play at the big league level. And I don't think that the Yankees are going to be in a hurry to give him a shot unless G goes down again. I think that I love the kid.
You mean when?
When? Yeah. When? That's a good point, Carlos. When?
Oh yeah, most likely, unfortunately.
Yeah. I just hope they don't trade him for something in the meantime. I really want to see Chaparro on that team. He adds instant offense. He drives in a ton of runs. He's an extra base hit machine. The bat is all there. It's just what position he's going to play.
Nah, definitely. And I love to call him my friend, Andre Chaparro, because I was able to interview him. Shout out to Nathan for setting that up. I know he's trying to set up another interview with Chaparro, and hopefully we could get that soon to you guys. And like you said, hopefully he gets called up to the major leagues because I think we all want to see him here with the Yankees.
Absolutely.
Agree that the defense is a bit suspect. I'm not sure if he could play average or below average defense at the major league level. TC, what's your last words before we close it out, brother?
No, he needs to be on the team. The DH spot's wide open right now with Stanton out. I mean, Calhoun and whoever else they're putting in there, it's just not providing enough offense. Chaparro, this was the perfect time to have him up, and they're just wasting it because Stanton's going to be back and Chaparro's going to be lost. And if they don't have a position for him, he's going to be done, in the minors forever. So it's just too bad. This was the perfect time to bring him up.
Yes, it really was.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see Catcher make any more trades for any guys that are about to be hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, one of them is coming. We're going to have a trade for a guy that's going to be on a 60-day IL, Carlos, ASAP. But, fellas, appreciate you guys joining us for the conversation today. I'm going to start off with Julian, then go to Carlos and Dane. Let everybody know where they can find you when it comes to social media, where they can come to find you when it comes to YouTube channels. Whatever you guys are working on, let the people know. Julian does a great job over on Dugout Station with a good friend of ours that's called Sandy. They do amazing work over there. But go ahead, Julian. Let them know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, so follow Dugout Station. That's YouTube is where we are trying to get our subs up. And I would say Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Follow her at Sandy Molinaris on Twitter. Me, it's Julian Gallardi 1 on Twitter. But we're on all social media platforms for the most part, even TikTok too.
Julian, he does a lot of great work when it comes to either being at Somerset or Yankee Stadium immediately after the game is over. He does like a little post-game thing that he puts up on social media. Does real good work. Julian, I've been following you for a couple of years now. I just always wanted to throw that to you. It was awesome when we was at the stadium last year. We was there the day that Aaron Hicks had that blunder and everybody was booing him. That was, oh my God, it was me, you, Nathan. It was horrible, but happy that I was able to meet you, Julian, for the first time. But Carlos, same thing going your way. Let the people know where they can find you and anything that you're working on. Go ahead, bro.
You can find me at Yankees Farm everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, on Twitter. I don't tweet that much though. These guys are trying to force me to tweet more.
Yeah, your
Instagram is good. You do real good work on Instagram, Carlos.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just did drop a video on Chaparro, which included every single hit that he had since he broke that 0-for-29 streak. If you guys want to check that out. But that's pretty much it. Oh, and Julian, I do love the new mic, by the way.
Yeah. That mic is fire. That mic is fire. I ain't gonna lie. Go ahead, Dane. Let the people know. I know you did when you first came in here, but let them know for the people that came in afterwards.
Not a problem. I'm on Twitter at DMH0726. I put up a farm report every night on nyynewstv.com. I do videos from Carlos from that day and incorporate them into the report so you guys can see videos from that night. Carlos and I do the Heat Sheet podcast on nyynewstv.com. We do that every Monday. Sometimes it gets out Tuesday. But that's where you can find us, and we're just going to keep pounding out Yankee prospect stuff. So getting real excited for when the FCL and DSL starts. That's when we're going to get really busy. June 5th.
By the way. June 5th is when it starts. Copy.
Yeah.
Listen, fellas, all three of you guys do amazing work when it comes to covering the Yankees and the minor league level. Your knowledge when it comes to these prospects are very impressive. That's why if I'm ever going to have a conversation talking about the prospects, I got to bring up the experts. I got to bring Julian. I got to bring Dane. I got to bring Carlos. I wanted to have my friend Nathan here, but he couldn't join just because his schedule was a bit chaotic this morning. He was in the chat. But I appreciate you, fellas. We got to do this again. I would love to have you guys on again so we can have another prospect talk and another conversation. Julian, Carlos, Dane, it's an open door policy. Whenever you guys wake up and want to jump on the channel, shoot me a message, and you're more than welcome to jump on that day. All right?
Thanks.
Great
job, guys.
Hey, guys. Good seeing y'all.
Definitely.
Right.
Before we get out of here, shout out to the chat. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. My guy 19 Conman was in the building. NYY News Ruben, of course, P. Seminetti from NYY News TV. Sunil, Jonathan. I apologize. We didn't have the open panel today just because this conversation was going so great. I wanted to keep it flowing with the fellas. But like always, peace, salutation. Smack that like button for the boys, and we out of here.